Welcome everyone. Thanks for joining today. We're going to look at why people might think differently to you. It is a broad topic, but I'm going to touch on insights. So I'll just go through what I'm going to talk about. So I'm going to do intro. We're going to explore why we get on better with some people than others, and why we don't potentially understand the way some people behave through the world of insights. It's to give you a flavour really on how you can use it in your relationships, both at home and at work. And I'm sure that you'll start to see yourself and others as we go through the material. So we'll start with a short intro about me, which we'll come on to in a minute. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about self-awareness and why that's important. Because once we understand ourselves, we can then begin to understand others. I'll then explain what insights is in a broad sense, and then take you through the colour preferences, how it might be useful to you, and then take you through how we've used it at the company that I work for, which is Rocket Consulting, because we've been using it over the last couple of years. Then a bit of a summary at the end, a few takeaways where you can find some more information if you're interested in, doing some more work around this, and then questions at the end. So if you put your questions in the chat as we go through, then we'll pick them up at the end. We've got an hour slot. I'm probably going to take about 30 to 40 minutes going through the material, plenty of time at the end for any questions or discussion. So a little bit about me. I'm Donna Unit. I'm head of delivery for Rocket. I've been with Rocket about 10 years. My background's all in supply chain logistics, project management, change management, transformation. I worked for DHL Supply Chain for about 22 years and moved to Rocket about 10 years ago. I'm a member of the Association of Project Management. I've been with them for over 20 years and lead the Enabling Change Interest Network. So that's all around sort of change management side. Certified change manager and agile PM practitioner. Women in technology. So this forum, a mentor, so I mentor a few people, and also ICF business and personal coach as of last year. So we do a little bit coaching internally and externally. Really interested in positive psychology and insights through the work that we've done at Rocket. I've taken the Leaders Insights Champion, which doesn't mean I'm Insights certified, but I'm trained as a champion in order to be able to review the profiles that we get back from our Insights provider and then deliver that feedback to individuals. So I've done quite a lot of work around embedding insights within Rocket. So that's a little bit about me. Let's start with a question. What percentage of work-based problems can be attributed to a breakdown in communications and interpersonal relationships, do we think? If you want to put what your thoughts in the chat, that would be helpful. Shut that down. So it's actually 87%. So a lot of you were quite near there. I think a few people said 80, a few people said 88, I think, as well, and 90. So yeah, that's fairly spot on. So this came out of a 2018 report by the Economist Intelligence Unit, found that 87% of work-based problems are attributed to comms and interpersonal relationships. So that really tells us that the work bit is easy, but it's working with others that causes challenges. And most of the issues at work result in working with people. It's not the actual tasks that we do. People generally leave jobs as well because of other people, bad managers or other people that they're working with. So the problem, isn't necessarily other people. It could be us. But are we always aware of how we behave? Are we self-aware? The self-awareness really looks at your preferred styles and less preferred. So you're more comfortable in your comfort zone, inside your own level of performance. So what's natural, what's comfortable to you, what's easy to you, what you don't really have to think about, and what produces consistent results for you. And obviously less preferred is obviously in your stretch zone where it feels uncomfortable, it's challenging, you have to concentrate. So think of, if you drivers, the way you drive your car, if you have a new car or you have a different car, for example, you have to think more about what you're doing. Same as when you get a new phone or you're using a different keyboard, etc. Or writing with your non-dominant hand, obviously, is not preferred. So there's some research that says that self-awareness is the meta skill of the 21st century. So a lady called Tasha Eurich has done quite a lot of work looking at sort of self-awareness and come out with 95% of people think they really know themselves, but only 15% really do. So it's critical to essential skills in the workplace in terms of communication, influence, and teamwork. So 3 ways to really improve your self-awareness are to have an open and curious mindset, so a growth mindset rather than a fixed mindset. So getting involved in new things, being open to new ideas. The second one is around a sort of daily check-in and reflection. I don't know whether people in this meeting actually do sort of things like journaling, but I started it about 12 months ago and I found it really, really quite good. I do sort of 3 minutes in the morning, 3 minutes at night, and just reflect in the morning on what happened the day before, and any meetings I've been in or any interactions with others, maybe how I could have done things a little bit better, or how things that are working well, and then at the end of the day do the same. So that's a sort of daily check-in, just checking on your self-awareness, how you behave during the day. And then there's what they call the power of truth, so feedback, so asking for feedback. And I know that's not always comfortable, but you can learn a lot from asking others about their opinions of how you've behaved in certain interactions with them, or how you can do things better. And obviously not all feedback's good and positive, but taking what you can from feedback from trusted sources is very valuable. So the sort of start of Insights is really about becoming self-aware about yourself, and then you can understand how you're going to work with others. So let's move on to what Insights is all about. So Insights Discovery is a psychometric tool that's based on Carl Jung's psychological types and his theory of personality, which was developed some years ago. I can't remember the exact year, but quite a long time ago. And it basically helps individuals and teams understand their personality preferences, communication styles, and working relationships. So what was done with Carl Jung's thesis was they boiled it down to 4 sort of colour energies, representing different behavioural tendencies, which fall into really easy red, yellow, green, blue. But we'll come on to more information about those in a while. Everyone's got a unique mix of these colours, so not one colour is better than another. Everyone's got a certain mix of all 4, but in 1 or 2 you tend to be more dominant. So Insights Discovery was developed through Jung's psychological types, and it includes sort of looking at introversion and extroversion as well, so how you gain energy. So predominantly, if you're a green or a blue dominant preference, you will be more of an introvert. Red and yellow are more of extroverts. And also thinking and feeling, so your decision-making style. So yellow and green are more on the feeling side, red and blue are more on the thinking side. So I'll break these down for you, going through and going through the different colour types in a while. So its purpose and uses are all around sort of self-awareness, so knowing what your primary colour preferences are and understanding what that means. And also around team building and leadership training. So obviously there's a set of insights that's just discovery for yourself, and then there's another element of it that you can use in leadership, which I'll touch on later. But it's all around improving your communication and workplace relationships, because if you understand yourself and you understand what colour preferences other people are within your teams and workplace, it really helps with how you position information, have meetings together, prepare for meetings, work together as a team. So we've done quite a lot of work on insights as teams within Rocket where I work, which I'll touch on later on exactly the benefits that we've seen. So I'm going to take you through elements of insights. Obviously, to get your profile, you have to complete a questionnaire and receive a profile, and you have to go through a certified practitioner for that. But what I'm going to take you through, you'll start to see elements of probably where you would fit and what your colour preference, dominant colour preference would probably be if you sort of understand yourself. So just to build on Jung's theory, so the methodology was brought to life, researched and validated over 20 years ago by two guys in Scotland. Obviously, it's intended for use in the workplace. They've got offices now in Dundee, Insights Discovery. They've developed this global reputation. So obviously you have to be a proper certified practitioner to be able to run the questionnaires and the profiles. But yeah, there's quite a lot of agencies that work with Insights, or you can go to Insights directly. I think it costs, for a profile, it's probably about £120. They're not expensive, extortionate. So we'll move on to Insights. So the colour energies. So I mentioned the colours earlier, but they've actually got a predecessor name. So red is fiery red. So that might give you an indication of what sort of person a red person might be, with a red preference. Sunshine yellow, earth green, and cool blue. So they're made up of those 4 colour energies. You can be obviously a mix of more than one. Usually one will be more dominant. Some people there's a line that they measure you on. Some people have 3 colours above the line, but you'll usually be more dominant in 1 or 2. So for an example, for myself, I'm a dominant yellow with secondary red. My blue and green are below the line. My blue is very low. Green's probably about middle. But we're all a sort of mix of all 4. So what does that mean? What does a fiery red mean? So let's just take you on to some of the energy traits. So a fiery red, we'll start with them. So they're more direct, decisive, focused, proactive, determined, purposeful, courageous, confident. You mostly find a fiery red, quite a lot of fiery reds are in leadership positions, bosses, if you like, managing other people. They sort of set direction, they're results orientated, they want things done and they want them done now, effectively. The sunshine yellow is more of a collaborative colour, so they're more around collaboration, people working together, very enthusiastic, adaptable, empowering, flexible, encouraging of others, interactive. They like the social side of things, engaging and dynamic. So those two, red and yellow, you often find people have a mix of both of those colours. If they're a strong red or a strong yellow, they've probably got a secondary, but not always. You have opposite colours. So obviously the opposite of a yellow would be a blue. So a cool blue is more detailed, a more reserved, analytical type of person, more thoughtful, consistent and objective. So we have a lot of software developers in the company that I work for, and a lot of them, well, 90% of them come out as a strong cool blue dominant, because they're very logical, analytical, that side of things, very quiet and reserved as well. And then we've got earth green, which is the opposite to a fiery red. Earth green are more around people, cohesion, building trust, what's in it for the people. It's all about the people's, the human side of things. They're considerate, service orientated, accommodating, very appreciative and supportive, reliable, patient and valuing. So you get the top half, the sort of blue and red are more thinking. They go with their head more in terms of decisions, whereas green and yellows tend to be the more harmonious people, human side of things, tend to go a bit more with feeling. So the charts are sort of split. They're sort of split that way and they're split that way, and then you have very opposites. You don't often find people with a strong sort of yellow-blue or a strong red-green preference. You can find people that have got all of them more or less on a par, but they're very, very unusual. I think about 1% of the population would be across all colours. So here on the right, you can see that obviously the colours are sort of focus is red, so that's more results orientation, sort of shared purpose, sort of driving forward. Yellow, sunshine yellow, more agility and collaboration, more around the flow of work, the flow of a team. Blue, more around process, so working methods, measurement. As I said, a lot of developers and software analytical people would sit in that blue sort of area. And then green is more around your climate. What's your climate? What's your temperature check? How's everyone feeling? Your cohesion, your sort of trust area. So that's given you a bit of an overview of the colours and what they sort of indicate and mean. In terms of body language, obviously, everyone you meet, you won't know what their colour preferences are, and they might not have been through Insights, etc. But this sort of gives you an idea of you can tell really from meeting people, if you spend a bit of time with them, what colour preference they would fall into. So obviously your reds would be firm handshake, direct eye contact, quite formal. Yellows would be more relaxed, more open, responsive. They physical contact, quite open. Blues, quiet, reserved. They like their own personal space, less facial expression, so you might not get a lot of feedback from a blue from their facial expressions. Greens are more sort of warm smile, eye contact, gentle sort of handshake. They're more of a friendly human sort of focus. So colour energy clues that are in the body language. So as I say, you walk into a meeting with someone, you can probably tell what sort of area they would sit in, which can be quite helpful. So in terms of sort of working together, as I said, reds and yellows are more extroverts, although one's thinking and one's more feeling. Blues and greens tend to be more introverted. Obviously, green more on the feeling side, blue very much on the thinking side. So reds, you find a red would appear more business-like, more functional. They want to be in control, the fiery reds. Their primary focus is on results, getting results. So they will push ahead and plough ahead to try and get a result. They like you to be very brief. It's no good going into a meeting with a red and presenting them with lots and lots of information. They want you to be, upfront, brief in what you're telling them. They fear losing control. They like to be in control at all times, and they can be irritated by inefficiency or indecision. They just want to get on with it and move forward. When they're under pressure, they may become a bit more of a dictator. So I'll move on to good day and bad day in a while, but there are differences between each of the colour preferences on a good day and on a bad day. So you can show up, how you show up depends. Decisions are pragmatic with reds as well. Yellows, they're informal, outgoing. They want to be more admired and respected. Yellows like you to say thanks, basically. Primary focus is on interaction with other people. They like you to be engaging. They fear disapproval, so it's all about sort of praise really with the yellow. They like to be liked and wanted. Can be irritated by rules and routines. They like fun, yellows. They like to sort of break the rules a little bit and have a bit more fun. Under pressure, they may dramatise or overreact. As I said, I'm a strong yellow, and this does happen occasionally. And decisions are quite spontaneous. They They deal with their gut a lot. You know, let's do this, let's do that, let's have a go at this. Blues, obviously very formal, very conservative. They want to be correct, so it's all about detail for them. They want to be right. Primary focus is on problem solving. Give a blue a problem and they'll go away and solve it. They like you to be precise. They don't like waffle. They want you to be direct and precise. They fear being embarrassed. So blue will very often over prepare. They'll do a lot of background work and they want to be prepared. They can be irritated by carelessness and vagueness. If you're vague with a blue, you don't know your onions, blues can get quite irritated. Under pressure, they may withdraw. So if they're feeling under pressure, they are withdrawn anyway, but they may withdraw even more. Decisions are very logical and deliberate with a blue. They will sift through data. Data is a big part of a cool blue. Which is why a cool blue is my opposite, because I'm not very good with data. Earth greens, they're casual, conforming. They want to be liked. They want everybody to be happy. Primary focus is maintaining harmony. They just want everyone to be on the same page and happy. They want you to be pleasant. They do not like confrontation at all and will avoid it at all costs. Can be irritated by insensitivity and impatience. Greens often need a lot of time to get on board with an idea, for example. Under pressure, they may feel overburdened, and decisions are very considered with a green. So that gives you an idea of sort of, you know, a bit more of an idea of how the colours play out. I'm going to move on now to just touch on the colours and what you might hear people say, just to give you some more context. So as I said, reds are direct, results-driven, action-orientated. Communication is very confident, decisive, and to the point. So you might hear a red say, let's get straight to the point. What's the end goal? We need to make a decision. I'll take the lead. Let's move fast and get results. I expect high performance from my team, etc. So it's all about getting results and driving forward. As I said, reds quite often are in a leadership position. Yellows, it's all about the people, the social side, very enthusiastic. Communication is expressive, engaging, and optimistic. It's all around sort of the excitement and fun for a yellow. So let's get on with it. Love brainstorming new ideas. Let's get everybody involved. Figure it out as we go. I have a great feeling about it. Let's turn it into something amazing. How can we make this more fun? I have an idea. We should celebrate our wins along the way, etc. So it's all about moving forward, energy, enthusiasm. Blues, the logic, the accuracy, and objective analysis. So it's all around data, analytics. You know, let's analyze the facts before we make a decision. I need some more details. What's the rationale behind the approach? Can you clarify the process for me? It's very structured. Blues are very, very structured. Accuracy is very important. Greens, more empathetic, supportive, and values harmony. Their communication's warm, considerate, and very people focused. So more around the feeling side. How's everyone feeling about this? Let's make sure everyone's voice is heard. I really appreciate your perspective. It's important we work together as a team. I want to make sure we're considering the impact on the people. Let's take the time to listen and understand. So it's all around the harmonious working together. So I'm sure as we're going through, you can resonate with some yourself or people that you work with at the moment and see where they may fit. So good day, bad day. We all have good days and bad days, and how we show up can be very different. Obviously, good day, we've sort of covered good day. You sort of know where we're going with a good day. Bad day. So obviously a blue. If a blue's having a bad day, they can be stuffy, indecisive, suspicious, cold, and reserved. So blues are fairly withdrawn anyway. If you see a blue withdraw even more, chances are they're under pressure or they're having a bad day. Reds, while they're competitive and demanding and determined, they can also, on a bad day, become aggressive, controlling, driving. So they will default to be, quite demanding, and basically, do it now sort of behaviour. Our CEO at Rocket is a red, and we know when he's having a bad day because it's a little bit more directive than it would normally be. Yellow, obviously, they're social, enthusiastic, etc. On a bad day, can become a bit frantic, excitable, a bit hasty maybe. And a green, obviously caring, encouraging, can become on a bad day more docile, more bland, more stubborn. Greens can become very, very stubborn if they're having a bad day or they're not happy about something. So it's useful to know really how stress changes things. Obviously on a red, stress triggers would be lack of focus, indecisiveness, being out of control. So those sort of things would be stress triggering for them, and then they would potentially become more aggressive, more impatient, more irritable. You need to allow for fast action with a red. Take decisions or time out and put them back in control. Reds need to have some sense of control, and that's important. They're normally the loudest voice in the room, reds, and they need that. Yellows triggers really are restriction on flexibility. Yellows like flexibility, they like fun. If they're not getting interaction or fun, they can become quite stressed, and they also don't like personal rejection. They can become over responsive, very opinionated and argumentative if under stress. Yellows really need room to maneuver. They need to save face and they need to distract onto something different. That's a remedy, get them to work on something else, if they're under stress. Greens don't act well to unfair or impersonal treatment, violation of values. Greens are very, very value driven, and interruptions or time pressures. They like to be given time to consider things. Greens, don't like being put under a lot of pressure to deliver something quickly. They can withdraw. They take things quite personally. Greens, they become silent, judgmental, impersonal, resistant, stubborn, and overcautious. A previous colleague of mine was a strong green, and I saw at times the way that he sort of withdrew quite a lot if he felt that his values had been violated or people had been treated unfairly or weren't being listened to. You need personal contact with a green to restore some trust, and you need to understand sincerity, and you need to put a task aside for another day and move on to something else. A green will tend to fester a little bit, so you need to get them out of that. Blues, they don't like lack of information, structure, or logic. If you throw a curveball at a blue, you're not going to get a very good reaction from them. They like to know what they're doing. They don't like curveballs. They don't like you to steamroller in with another idea when they're working on something. Poor quality work. They like to obviously deliver quality, and time wasted or be rushed on a task. They can become very questioning and deliberate, very nitpicking. They will pick up on, start to nitpick on things, quite aloof, withdrawn, and can become quite resentful. It's important to get their feedback on the way forward, informational and emotional support, and go back and analyse more carefully. You need to spend more time with blues, making sure that they've got all the data they need and give them time to to be able to come out with a quality piece of work and a quality outcome. So insights in action. So how have we used insights? So we started implementing insights probably a couple of years ago at Rocket, and it's really enabled us to understand each other and how we work better together. As I say, we've got a cross plethora of people, from developers to sort of our CEO, lots and lots of different colour preferences. And it's important that we understand each other better. We're a virtual team as well, which doesn't help. So the work that we've done on Insights has really been beneficial. We share our colour profiles around our pictures on Teams, which I think Charlotte mentioned earlier that they do the same for Disc, so that we know when we're speaking to people what their colour preferences are. We're open and honest with our customers, and we even shared combined colour preferences to enable greater collaboration with one of our customers in particular, which was really, really helpful. So we know how to position, information and how to work together as teams, and how to present things in meetings to those people that are our customers. We've got an insights cheat sheet that's got everyone's preferences on. Everyone sort of signs up to sharing it, and nobody's protective. It's a really big factor for us when we're selecting project teams or teams to work on internal initiatives. So we'll look at colour preferences as a way of determining who would work best together on a team. We've also moved into the insights transformational leadership styles. So they build on insights as a next level for a leadership team. So you can start. There's a brief diagram down here of how that's broken up, but there's actually sort of 8 facets within the 4 colours that work on leadership. But that's another topic. But we've sort of built on that with our leadership team. At a recent company get together, we put people into teams for an activity, and deliberately put a mixture of all the colour preferences in one team. We made the other teams skewed more to sort of blue, green, etc., and actually found out that the team that performed the best were the mixture of all the colour preferences. So that it was a bit of a test, but it sort of surprised us. So obviously when we're looking at teams, we're looking at making sure we've got people of each colour preference in those teams, because you need a bit of everyone to make a team work together. Every new starter completes an insight questionnaire, and then we go through our licensed agency to produce the profile. And then we've invested in a couple of insights champions, of which I am one, who then get that profile back from the licensed agency and then feed that back to the individual and go through their profile with them. So that's what we've done with Insights. I know other people use Disc, MBTI, etc., but this is just an example of something that we've used that's really, really helped us move forward as a company and helps us work better together. It's had a profound effect on our leadership team. For example, our CEO, as I explained, was a strong red and would often hit people with a strong blue preference with curveballs or something that he needed now, and had no understanding of why they got so stressed about it. But with some coaching and sort of the colour preferences and understanding of individuals, it's really helped us position how we might ask others to do something to get the best out of them. So in summary, using insights is a way of appreciating our differences. And by adapting our style when we're working with others, we can really collaborate more effectively. And also by understanding signs of stress in others, we can see that it's not personal. It's the way they, that particular colour preference reacts to stress. We can build better teams to work on projects, for example, and we can also get opinions from people who are complete opposite to us. So now we make sure that even when we're interviewing people, we do a couple of rounds of interviews with, first stage, second stage, but we always make sure somebody from a green colour preference interviews that person, because that's more of a sort of, you know, a green person is more human side, so they'll look more on a sort of cultural fit, more from the human side of things. So what can you do next? So, well, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm quite happy to share anything or you know, for any advice or information that you might need. You can go onto the Insights website. There's a lot of good information on there if you want to learn more about what Insights is. Obviously, if you're looking to invest at all in Insights, make sure that you're using an organisation that's Insight Discovery registered partner, so that they can actually do the profiles for you. Obviously, the questionnaire that you go through probably takes about 15 minutes, and it's a very reactive questionnaire, so you're actually, you know, you're not thinking about it too much. And then obviously your profile comes out of the back of that, and you'll be amazed at how accurate that profile is. I think they say they're around 90% accurate. Mine was very, very accurate. There's also a book, I don't know whether anyone's seen it, called Surrounded by Idiots by Thomas Erickson. It's based on Insights, obviously you'll see from the cover, and it's quite a good read. Obviously it's surrounded by idiots because we all think that people with a different colour preference to us are idiots, and that's obviously where the title came from. But it's a really good book actually, if you want to learn more about sort of how you work together with people of different colour preferences. And just to finish, so we're all a blend of all colour energies. There's no better colour than others. Every colour has its place. You need a mixture of all four. And yeah, it's good to explore how you show up really. And that's the end of the presentation. I hope that was useful. Has anyone got any questions at all?
Thank you, Donna. That was really, really insightful. I've got loads of questions. If other people do have questions, please use the chat or pop your hand up and I will instantly come to you because your question is more important than mine. Somebody's come on camera, so I'm hoping that means they've got a question. But Victoria, did you want to ask something?
Hi, Kevin. It's probably more for Donna's advice actually, because I have done the Colour Insights quite a few years ago, and I've probably had quite a squiggly. I've been with my company now for 18 years, but probably had a bit of a squiggly career journey within the same company. So I am very much dominant yellow, with a little bit of green. Now that was fine. It worked really well in the past because I had more nurturing roles as people leader, influence and change as a consultant, all of that kind of stuff. But the last 2 years, I've moved into tech. And of course, I work with a lot of tech leaders, a lot of technologists, leadership team, a lot of red males in the technology sector. And I struggle to change, to adapt my natural style from yellow to that red to communicate, because it just doesn't come natural to me and I have to work really hard at it. Is there any advice that you can give that will make that easier for me to do and communicate with those colleagues?
Yeah, I don't think it's not about sort of changing who you are. Incidentally, if you took Insights now, you might find that you've changed. I mean, they recommend that you do it every sort of 2 or 3 years, and a lot of people change over COVID. A lot of people changed their dominant colour. It's not about you changing, it's about how you can work better with someone of an opposite colour to you. So it's more about learning about how they need to receive information, for example, how you need to be perceived by them. So how you might prepare to go into a meeting with them, how you might prepare a report. For example, you know, if it's a blue, they would need lots of detail. A red, they just want the high level. So I think it's more about, it's not about changing who you are, but it's how just tweaking how you might communicate with people of a different style.
Yeah, so maybe a little bit more preparation.
Sorry, Victoria, I was going to ask, is there any kind of cheat sheet for that, Donna? So do you have, you said that you've
There
found
is.
quite really organised internally in terms of knowing what people are. Is
Yeah.
there then kind of a list of rules that says if this person is red,
Yeah, there
communicate
is.
with them in this way?
There is. So I've got a cheat sheet that's got sort of meetings, how you might prepare for meetings and one-to-ones, etc. I mean, I'm happy to share that.
That'd be
I can
amazing.
share
Yes,
that with you.
please. That would be
I'd love to pass it out.
fantastic. And are you able to share the slides from today, Donna, or not?
Yeah, I can
Yeah?
do that. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. I was trying to take little snips.
Yeah. So Deepa had the same question that I did that you've already answered, which is can people change? And the answer is yes.
Yes.
Do you think people can change intentionally, or is that very much an organic thing that happens over time? Like if I wanted to be more red because I think that more leaders more red people get to leadership roles, can I try and be more red?
Yeah, you can do. And incidentally, the profiles that you get actually have your conscious and unconscious colour preferences. And sometimes they can vary. And it's more or less sort of how you behave at home really is unconscious, and how you behave more at work is more conscious, and that can vary. So mine is very much on a par, but some people have great shifts where they have to dial up a certain colour because of the job that they do.
Excellent. Two more questions in the chat. So the one is there a questionnaire or survey you can take? And there is, obviously, so if you can send a link to that, Donna, so people know where they can go and do this test for themselves.
Yeah, okay.
The other two is kind of, I think the similar question is, and you've already answered this in the session, but I'll let you give a more detailed answer about people being a blend of the colours. So you're not just going to be pure red or pure green, or you're going to be on the spectrum somewhere?
No, most people have two dominant colours. You might be on a par with two as well. You normally have one standout, one secondary, and sometimes a third as well. So on the questionnaire and the profile that you get back from Insights, there's a sort of line, and it's how many colours you've got above and below the line. Some people have 3 above the line. Not many people, 1% I think have 4 above the line. But so for my example, I'm probably, I'd say 60% yellow, maybe 40% red, and probably 30% green. You know, you'd have, so you can see sort of traits, but stronger in the yellow. So yeah, you'll have more than one. You won't normally have just one colour. You'll have a blend of colours, but you'll have a strong dominant.
Thank you. Naginda had her hand up and she started typing. So Naginda, do you want to come off mute and ask the question?
Yes, I will. Sorry, Donna may have already answered the question, but what I was going to say is I've been identified as red at work, having done MBT. I think that's the one we did some years back. Yeah.
Yep.
And I think I carry that at home as well, which sometimes I regret. And I said, why do I have to be the decision maker or doing these things? You know, just get on with it. Now that my children have grown up, and it has transpired very clearly that that's the person I am. And I feel uncomfortable at home. I mean, I'm not here bringing my work ethics, but somebody's got to decide the things. So if I leave it, I think it's not going to get decided. If I do it now with my 3 daughters grown up, we're like good friends. And so they say, oh, you're not running a corporate organization here. Come on then. And I feel totally ashamed. And I think, oh God, no. And so I just think, I mean, I try and tone it down or, you know, leave the decision making out. But then sometimes things just go away. Any advice?
Yeah, I think
Please.
I think if you're a strong red, if no one else, even if you try and dial it down, if no one else is going to make a decision, you're going to be the one that makes the decision, because it will, you know, it'll kill you not to. I don't think you can't really fight what you're naturally sort of aligned to, can you? It's difficult. Maybe just try and bring other people into the conversation, or try and get more of an opinion. I think with reds tend to have an idea and go for it without much consideration of others. So maybe just try and bring other people along with you a little bit. and maybe a bit more sort of collaboration.
Yeah, I agree. Very often I've tried to do a consensus building or tell my husband, come on, can you decide about this or that? And it's just like there's a void period. And I think, okay, what's going on? Something
Yeah, I
or
think
nothing. And I think it's my patience that runs out.
Yeah, Reds want a decision and they want it quickly and they want action.
Okay.
Greens will sit and mull over it for a long time, and and blues, may not make a decision at all. So it's more yellows and reds drive decisions forward with action. So yeah, it's just trying to rein it in. But yeah, it is difficult. It is difficult. But you've got self-awareness, and it's just recognizing, if you can try and, if you maybe journaling might help if you try and reflect on what you did in a certain situation, and how can you act differently next time, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Donna.
Donna, I thought it was really interesting that you said that you took this into account when you were looking at team structure and who you'd put on the delivery. I think I know the answer because you said that you give people a test after they've started, but would you ever use this as part of the interview process to determine who to hire? Or would you ever go into an interview process with a preconception of the colour profile you want and then tweak your adverts and your process to try and attract that kind of person over a red, for example, if you wanted a blue or green?
Not really, no. So we did look at doing this, as part of a recruitment process, but decided against it because obviously all colour preferences have got the same value, not one's more important than another. But we do look at it when we're putting teams together, because you don't want, all reds on a team. You don't want all yellows, etc. You don't want a strong mix of just people who are all thinking or all feeling or all extrovert or all introvert. You need a whole mixture. So we do consider it when we're putting teams together, but not in the recruitment process. We can normally work out what a person's colour preference would be because we've embedded it so much and we've done so much work around it. When we're interviewing someone, we more or less can tell what they will come out at. But yeah, but it's on our leadership team. We've got quite a good mix of all the colours, which is good.
Yeah,
that tends to work quite well.
Does there tend to be much of a gender correlation between a red to more typically male or female, or is it very 50-50 across the board?
No, it's probably 50-50, I'd say. It's more it's more job role.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's just a natural tendency. Like, as I said, developers are predominantly more blue. Project managers, we've got 6. They're a bit of a mismatch, to be honest. We've got yellows, blues and greens. Leadership team tend to be predominantly red and yellow. HR are green, which you would probably expect. So yeah, there is a bit of a correlation in job roles, in job titles. I think you've just asked the same sort of question, Wendy, in the chat then. So yeah, predominantly, blues are quite technical, quite logical, data driven. So you do tend to see them in more of those sort of roles. Salespeople, predominantly reds with some yellow. Because obviously they want results, they want to sell, but they've also got that sort of, engaging nature to be able to speak to people. So yeah, you do see a bit of correlation with job role.
Awesome. Well, we're just about out of time. Are there any other questions before we close? If not, that all is to say thank you to Donna. That was honestly genuinely a very, very informative and interesting session. If you can share with me all the resources, what will happen is I will upload the video to Mighty Networks, and in the recording post I'll attach all of the resources that Donna shares so everybody can access them afterwards. But yeah, thank you very much. Charlotte dropped early and she emailed me to say make sure Donna knows that it was great and to say thank you. So I'll
Okay.
do that as well.
Great.
But yeah, lovely. Thanks everyone for attending, and thanks so much, Donna, for your time. Really
Thanks,
appreciate
everyone.
it.
Good to meet you. Thanks a lot.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Donna.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.